Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I am Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Benucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
Ooh. We're eating as we're doing this. Phil's booked our day really badly, and that's no time.
Don't blame this on me. Your lack of preparation is not my emergency. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, it is.
What are you eating?
Share a calendar, young man. So
I made sausage and potatoes last night, so I had a sausage with a piece of bread. So what I might have to do is just kill the camera every couple of minutes just to take a bite. You get me chewing, but you don't have to watch me eating the whole thing.
I'm good. Do what you need to do.
How are you?
I'm good.
Looks like you're in the kitchen.
I'm in the kitchen today. Yes. Yes, we have a record 2 weeks. It'll be last November was our biggest month, and we have doubled it by the middle of November. So by next Thursday, we'll have doubled last November. So,
jeez.
So if I get another order, it'll be really good. But anyways, it's a good November. It's pretty crunched. I pitching in where I can, and yeah.
That's awesome, though. That's like super encouraging.
Yeah,
like
it's
super
exciting.
Encouraging.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Yeah.
And probably scary at the same time.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not that scary, but it is. I guess it's a bit overwhelming trying to make sure that I have everything, all the ducks in a row, and it's all going to come together. You know, it's a big logistics exercise, and I got it all
buckle up
planned
and
out,
go for the
so
ride.
hopefully all goes to plan. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
pretty
you know,
excited.
most things in life just work out. I mean, I might have a few bumps here and there. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's half the fun.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited too. It's pretty fun.
That's awesome.
And how is how are our friends at Whole Foods? They're good. Is that going well?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm always looking for more sales, more turns. But I think early innings is a good sign. So I'm pretty happy there.
That's awesome. That's super exciting.
Yeah.
Super
I'm
exciting.
looking forward to getting in there and doing some sampling. But so far the feedback's been really, really good.
I love it.
That's awesome, man. That's really good. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Early signs, you just want it to be more and more. I'm always feel a bit nervous about jinxing myself a bit too early and celebrating a bit too quickly. So but good signs.
No, that's good. That's good. Where did Kenny left us? That's it. That's the end of the podcast.
That's it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a
Mic drop.
Oh man. I feel like I haven't seen you in like forever.
I know. It has been a long time.
Yeah, it has. It has.
But only it's actually not even been that long. So it's because we were talking so frequently for a while there. Yeah.
No, and then I don't know. Like we're in a similar boat. Like things have gone crazy here.
That's great.
So yeah, it's been really great, but it's been a little silly too. Yeah, because so when you were talking, I was feeling like, yes, all of it.
Yes.
Yes, all of it. Oh my God, right? Like, but it's good. Like, can't really complain, right? So it's good. Yeah. I'm gonna.
Last time are you gonna reach out to Kenny? Oh, there he is.
No, I was.
Down on me.
Yeah.
Did you hang up on us, Kenny? Okay. What did I say? What did I say?
I've never had that.
If anything, you're eating meat. Like if it would be anybody, it should be Gina hanging up on you. Like this is not okay. Not during my podcast. What the hell, guys?
Listen, I got Google that just dropped me. I'm thinking, where did Google go? The whole thing's crashed. I got
maybe Google was offended because you were eating a sausage while you were talking to Gina. So.
Whatever. I can't help it. I'm hungry, and it is what it is. I don't have no vegan sausage. This is what you get. It's sourdough bread. That's got to count for something.
Did you make it yourself?
Oh, are you kidding me? Come on.
It would have counted. It would have counted if you made it yourself.
I went to Livia's. I'm supporting a small local entrepreneur. That's got to be worth something.
It definitely is worth something.
See,
yeah. Marks for you. Yeah.
All right.
2 thumbs up.
Well, before Kenny disappears again, for the listeners, we've got Gina Arsons on, and she runs Yuma Soy and Omnoms. And you probably would have seen her on our YouTube because she was talking about how she launched across the country with Whole Foods on our YouTube channel. But we've been trying to get Gina on. She was a little shy in the beginning. We kind of had to talk her into it.
Still a bit shy.
Yeah. I think we started this conversation in April. Right? Like, because we saw you at the Founders Dinner, the BCFB Founders Dinner.
That's right.
Around CHFA, yeah.
That's right. It was the same weekend.
Yeah. So we're really excited. So before she starts feeling self-conscious about anything, we are super excited. And I'm excited. I have had the chance to do a little work with Gina, but also just get to know her. And so I fucking love it that she's on here. So I'm pretty excited. Gina, the next 45 minutes is yours. We would love to hear a little bit about your origin story, how you got here. And then you're rocking the business right now. So we kind of want to hear how you got here and then how things are going too. So I'm going to shut up now, and the floor is yours, my lady.
Awesome. I am so excited to be hanging out with you too. I think what you guys are doing is really incredible, and I feel really privileged to be a part of it. And so thanks for having me. This isn't my usual shtick to talk about myself, but I'm thrilled that you're asking. And how did I come to found Yuma Soy and create Omnoms? A few years back, my husband, like many people, watched What the Health on Netflix and was quite shocked at the impact that meat products has on a person's health. And so he almost overnight declared that we were all going to be vegan. And I went ahead and tried to make plant-based meals that were, had a good amount of protein, that were well balanced, that tasted delicious like we were used to, and that were relatively easy to make. And it was an absolute nightmare. It was so impossible to get health, convenience, and taste. And I was always, if it was healthy, it was not tasty. If it was tasty, it was not healthy. And I was really struggling. And so I thought, it's there's got to be something better. And there's so many options for meat eaters, and to make it convenient, tasty, and relatively healthy, and notwithstanding the Netflix statements. And so I set out to make a plant-based protein that was easy to make, delicious to eat, and full of nutrients and health factors. So hence Omnoms was born. It took about a year to figure it all out, and then a few months to get in market, and we've been in market about a year and a half now. So I'm pretty excited. The feedback's been really, really wonderful, and early innings, but it sure is a lot of fun. For full disclosure, we're all, my family eats all over the place now. So daughter's a vegetarian, I'm a pescatarian. My husband is not, but we eat a lot of plant-based food as a result of this. So we're probably a lot like most people now that just want to increase their plant-based eating, recognize It's good for the environment, it's good for your health. But balance is, more reasonably, I guess, expected of people in general. So we're probably a lot like most people, but we eat Omnoms all the time and love them.
So do me a favor, because people may not know, what exactly did you come up making? Like, because you could have done 5,000 different things, I'm assuming, in the space. You chose one particular angle. Like, what is it and why?
Yeah, so we there's a plant-based protein made with soy. We chose soy because it has all essential amino acids. It's full of fiber. It has a lot of nutrients in it. It's a real super food. So that was number one. A lot of plant-based foods I found were lacking in protein, and when you don't have enough protein, I found for myself anyways, I didn't have enough energy and it didn't sustain me, and I was craving sugar. So protein is the antidote of craving sugar for me, and I think for a lot of people. And so soy protein was the first thing that I decided, and I marinate it and I cook it in a way that creates this incredible texture that's infused with flavor, and it's pre-cooked, and it only takes about 5 minutes. Pan fry it in a non-stick pan, and you have a flavorful protein, just like you would, grilling a steak, and you add your vegetables and your potatoes, or you have a pasta and you want to add some chicken to it. It's the same kind of concept. It's the main protein, and they're marinated in 4 flavors: an original, which is very lightly seasoned; a Mediterranean herb, which is my favorite. That's my background, Mediterranean. Thai yellow curry. So I was thinking about a takeout dish, and I always like taking out Thai food, but you can't get it really in a vegetarian way. And so I created Thai yellow curry and a teriyaki because it's super easy to put on rice with noodles, stir fry some vegetables, and you've got a good meal. So really trying to create ways that people can create meals really easily.
Cool. So are these like just prepackaged sort of slabs of flavored soy-based protein, or are they nuggets, or like?
Yeah, thanks for asking that clarifying question. I seem to overlook that.
Well, it is because you're in
strips.
It. I mean, it's hard, right?
Yeah, we vacuum pack them, and so they look like a solid piece, but they're actually small strips or bites. They're already pre-cut, and so it's they're all ready to go.
Okay, cool.
I always think of them like, because I was letting you ask the questions because I'm a fan. We have it in the house, but to me, it's almost like when you buy stir fry at the grocery store and they're all pre-sliced already. That's kind of what they look like when you start using them.
So super easy to use. There's nothing to really do. Like, it's not like, and I think sometimes that's what probably scares people, is that they either think it's going to be, for lack of a better, let's say a nugget and that, or it's going to be something soy protein. And you're looking at it thinking, I don't know what the hell you want me to do with this, which is so silly, because whether it's a teriyaki soy product or a teriyaki beef, chicken, you insert meat protein there, really, what's the difference? There's mentality that we just struggle, right?
Well, and that's what I tried to do. I tried to make it, as easy as it is to stir fry up some teriyaki chicken, as it is to stir fry up some teriyaki omnoms. It's exactly the same process, except it's probably a lot safer because it's already pre-cooked. There's not a lot of risk of undercooking or any of that.
Right.
And so I tried to make it as seamless as possible for someone to choose and or swap in. Because with most people that I've talked to, really want to increase their plant-based eating, but don't know how. They have their 20 recipes that they go to, and they kind of recycle them through for their family, and they don't really know and have the energy and or the time bandwidth to try and create this. So this is like, take out beef and insert omnoms, or take out chicken, insert omnoms, and it's really easy for people. So they don't have to change their recipes; they just change their protein.
Very cool. And this is found where in the refrigerated or frozen sets, right?
Frozen sets, yeah.
Frozen sets.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Can we rewind a little? Like, so I get the story, right? And you and I have talked about the struggle of kind of like figuring this thing out. Can you talk a little, because your background is not
food.
Like where you are now and where you were
There's no linear.
Like, there's no.
Nothing.
There's
No.
Yeah.
It's maybe like kind of, at the beginning of my life, maybe I'm in the third chapter of my life now. I'm in the middle of my life. The middle chapter is very different. So I was born to two incredible immigrants, and they had a restaurant. And so I grew up in the restaurant industry. I was great at service, but not the cook part. I actually enjoyed short order cook meals. So my dad was amazing, but I grew up with really amazing food, and knew that it was available to me on the quick. And so I have a little bit of a background in that sense. And then I went to university. I graduated. I got my CA. I've done incredible. I think I've had the fortune of doing incredible things. As a CFO of a digital supercluster, investing in technology companies, I helped digitally transform a large industrial company. I've been CEO of a software company. I helped another company go public. I've had this richness of experience in the corporate world, and I don't know what it was, but probably through COVID and something, I got a bug in my ear a long time ago that I wanted to create a food product. I have no real basis and for believing that I could do it, except that I just was interested. And I think when we were trying to cook plant-based protein, I was talking to plant-based foods, meals, and I was talking to my friends and family about it. I think it was a common problem. And so I had a bug in my ear a long time ago. And during COVID, I just thought, if not now, when? I'm not getting any younger. And so I did the proverbial leap that people talk about. It was terrifying. Sometimes it's still terrifying. But yeah, I did it. And here I am.
Not surprising. It sounds so linear. I mean, CA, CFO, high tech and into food. I don't understand why the quantum leap. I don't see what you're finding the quantum leap here.
I know it's super obvious. Natural. I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you missed something.
We see eye to eye. This is
obvious
good.
To me. Jesus. I love how we have so many guests on, Phil and I, that it's story. I'm thinking like, there's like not even a way to connect the dots half the time. It just no sense.
I also like I think what so one is shiny objects, right? So like she kind of like, I was part of this super cluster, and you're like, whoa, like just stop talking for a minute. What
does that mean? Well, seriously, for someone like me,
she's like, but I did that and I took somebody public, like only what every founder wants to do in our industry. Go public. Well, I did that too. And, now I just,
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. I've had an incredible career, but I do think this is the most incredible part. No.
That's very cool. So what kind of restaurants do the folks run?
Family style restaurants. So I would say probably, and Kenny, when did you come to Vancouver? You might actually recognize a few of them.
In 1985 to go to UBC.
So you might actually. There was a Normandy restaurant on Granville and 11th, kind of across the street from the Stanley Theater. It's an Echo shoe store.
Know that.
Yep. That was
that
was. Yeah, that was really where I grew up. That's where I started washing dishes when I was 10. I started waitressing when I was allowed.
Girl you were really mean to? That's her.
It's funny because we lived in that area. So when my roommate and I came down, we lived on 14th and Oak, the first year of university, and then we were on 12th and Pine, and then 10th and Birch, and we'd go to the Stanley, and Bobley was there. Like we would be on South Granville all the time.
Yeah.
So I know the restaurant.
Yeah, it was a great restaurant and very popular. It was a while ago. And the Aristocratic, actually, in 1986, my dad bought it, cleaned it up, and
that one too?
Kind of turned it around. It was kind of in disrepair, and I was 16 years old then, hostessing and trying to help get that one going during Expo 86, and So then after that, he had the Steveson Seafood House in South Granville. And that was many years. That was probably when I started working. I articled at Price Waterhouse, which is Price Waterhouse Coopers now. Mm-hmm. And still, busy Saturday nights. I was called in to fill in shifts, and that's what I did. Yeah, helped them implement their first computer system, ordering system, which was pretty fun. And yeah, my brother is still in the restaurant business, which I love, and he's on South Granville. He's at the Paul's Omelettery on Granville and 6th, and
that is so cool.
It's a great restaurant. Yeah.
That's so you come by the food part, honestly, and sort of naturally. Still doesn't make sense in terms of CPG, because CPG and restaurateuring are two different worlds. But at least you sort of come by it. Honestly, that's interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I love the restaurant business. I just, who
Tough
knows?
kid.
Maybe that's my fourth act. But right now, I'm pretty happy here.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Small world. If you grow up in Vancouver, there's just a couple degrees of separation. It's a pretty small town still.
Oh my God, for sure.
Yeah.
Like for sure.
I think it's funny because the phrase like this 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's 6 degrees from Kenny is really the one to think about Vancouver.
That's a Trail. Everybody knows somebody from Trail. We got no population, and the whole world knows somebody from Trail. Probably within 4 degrees of separation. Never mind 6.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's
very hilarious. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward to you super cluster some things, you blow some things up, you sell some things, you get into this thing, and your husband has like an aha moment.
But at a funny time too. Hold on to that, Phil.
Okay,
like,
sorry.
So during COVID kind of thing, right? Again, not necessarily the best time to do anything business, even though a lot of people did very well. It was a scary time. Mm-hmm. And then you're also going into, with supply issues and blah, blah, blah. There's a trillion things within the food category, which were interesting. Then go Phil. Sorry, just make sure, because contextually, it's the other stuff is really cool, and then you walk into this quagmire of.
Oh yeah, no, like
shit.
Look, to be clear, we just skipped over 3 cool things, right? Like
exactly, which I still don't know what the board of
directors,
super something.
Public, digitalize a company, but let's just say that's not cool enough. Like
this is the cool one.
This is the cool one.
So you jump into this thing and you start you start looking at like meatless options or kind of animal less options in protein, but it's still a pretty big jump, right? Like I think most families, like Gina knows my story, like my youngest is the same. She said, I don't really want to eat meat. Can we be veggie? And I said to her, we can't, because my brain doesn't work that way. I've got to go learn a whole bunch of things. And then she went, I don't really like beans. I don't really like tofu. And, you kind of go, so what do you want me to feed you as your parent? Like, there's only so much broccoli and mushrooms I can feed you, right? Like, and then like none of those really sub, right? So what do I do here, right? So in my case, like we stopped, right? I said, I can do it a couple of days a week, but until we get through some of these other barriers, you clearly didn't have that, right? Because you ran into the same issues. And then like the super cluster lady you are, you kind of like.
Yeah, I think my family's the same. They, as vegetarians that don't like mushrooms at all. And I love mushrooms. Don't like beans, don't like chickpeas. You're
starting to knock out some of the stuff that, you really should be eating.
Yeah, exactly. And so, we're eating a lot of carbs. And if you do that for long enough, honestly, you feel pretty rough. And obviously, gain weight. Kids don't gain weight, but, adults gain weight and have lethargic, it's just not a great way. And so, I thought there needed to be better options for people. Easier, delicious, and high in protein.
So you started all this in the kitchen, right? Like I guess most people do. You started at home, And so you're fiddle farting around with these ultimate ideas, like one at a time, trying them on you're guinea pigging the family. I'm sure there's a couple screw ups in there, something not so good, but how that whole year, is that just testing at home and playing?
It's just playing around. Yeah. A whole bunch of different types of protein, a whole bunch of different ideas. And then, when I thought I had a pretty good idea, I tested it on about 60 friends. I had a big test going on, and they're all very, very honest, and most of it, the feedback was really, really positive. And you find issues along the way, and problem solve. I think that's my number one job, is just problem solving.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I can totally see that. So you do all this testing, you get the friends all buying in, the family's buying in, nobody's walking away from the table, everybody's getting kind of happy with the food. Yeah. And then what did you do? Like, you got to get out of the house. Sooner or later, you got to get into a proper facility because. Yeah,
exactly. I tested it on my uncle, who is probably the most skeptical of anyone that I could have found, and he kept going for seconds, and that's when I thought, I think there's something here. Yeah. So I went to find some experts in the industry. I reached out to BC Food and Beverage. I reached out to Andrea at Good to Grow. I started to learn about the industry. I started to understand. I found some space at a common kitchen. And from there, I signed up to present my product and introduce ourselves at a trade show. So then I had to do a lot of backtracking to try and figure out what I needed to actually do. And there's a lot more hoops than I had expected, but we got through those hoops and presented our product. It was well received. And that was the Good to Grow trade show. And I think it's actually called From the Ground Up trade show. And from there, I got my first two retailers, Stong's and Palm Natural Market, and found a distributor, found a broker, and then have just been kind of growing from there. Have pivoted too a little bit. I started as a chill product and realized that 6 weeks chill was not nearly enough shelf life, which I thought was tons actually when I started. I was like, oh, I hit the jackpot. I did 6 weeks, and then I meet some experts and they're like, oh no, that's not even close. So yeah, there's some naivety that I went into this with and not really kind of knowing.
I guess you just don't understand it, right? I mean, it's 6 weeks. 6 weeks is from the time you finish in the kitchen. It may not hit the store for 3 more weeks.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
So you're buying time. So when you started, so I'm trying to figure out, because we always have to do this in the context that ideally what we're all hoping for, the three of us, even including you, is that there's people listening that are 12 steps behind, 15 steps behind. So you're trying to give them the base to understand, okay, this is how you kind of do it. So you learn, you do the test kitchens, you get the family, friends, figure it out. You get to a commissary. How do you get to the point where you get into packaging? How do you like, when does this distributor broker thing, when did you knock on Stong's door and Palm, and what did you think you were even going to get?
Yeah, so I do actually think the most pivotal part was actually deciding to join Good to Grow and presenting at the From the Ground Up trade show. It's relatively inexpensive. The workshop that Andrea takes everybody through is incredible. When I started talking to her about, when I asked my friends and I started to packaging, I realized that, when I was making the Thai yellow curry, for instance, it wasn't consistently, the feedback wasn't very consistent. And I realized that the way that we were poaching it and batching it kind of had more turmeric at the bottom than at the top, right? So obviously the people at the bottom would have way too much turmeric and people didn't have enough. And so I started to talk to Andrea about this, and she said, oh, you need a food scientist. So she introduced me to a food scientist. We had Daphne Tsai, she's part of my team, helped me really formulate the process to make it consistent. And she also helped with the type of packaging and the scaling of it. And Andrea had some contacts in terms of graphic design and stuff like that. I had a very generous friend in marketing who helped me with the name Omnoms. And she's the one that actually, they weren't called Omnoms before. I'm actually embarrassed to tell you what they were called before, because she said, Gina, you know, well, they're called Tender Bites because they're kind of bites and they're tender. And she said, Gina, it sounds like cat food. And I was like, wow, it totally sounds like cat food. So
it sort of does, though, right? It's not, it doesn't, where you ended up is way better than where you started.
And she said, what about Omnoms? And I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. So we've been able to trademark it now, and I've just run with it. So
in breaking news, Gina is now launching a cat food, a plant-based cat food.
Tender Bite Omnoms.
Yeah. You heard it here first, and it's coming soon.
Coming to your stores soon.
Yes. Those are the
four flavors of this new cat food. Is that where we're going with? Is that
No, don't go there. Don't go there.
Right?
No.
Got to look for efficiencies.
Yes. New markets. Yeah.
Well, what the hell, right?
You know what? Like 2 weeks from now, Gina's gonna go, guys. What the fuck? Like,
everybody wants this calling.
Yes.
Well, we look back and say, well, it was your idea. You said cat food. Why did you want to do it? We didn't say to do a cat food.
Yeah.
That's
it's definitely not cat food. Yes. Definitely
awesome. So we got that part. So how did you even know when, and there's so many people that first off, because you and we've talked before too, is that most people don't build in the distributor, the broker, the margins for the retailer. So did you have a lot of coaching on that before you got too far into it?
Yeah, you know, part of this is part of the same workshop is kind of building that financial model. I have to say that the thing that I still got caught off guard, even though I had built it in, is all the MCDs. I think it's kind of sold as it's a kind of one-off and a boost in sales, but the reality is the buying patterns of the retailers understand it, right? So it's a frozen product, so they can stock up. And so it just the volume goes up when there's a discount, and it's pretty much a per minute discount, I would say, based on my experience. So I would definitely build in a higher margin to accommodate the MCDs, because it's not a one-off. It's pretty.
It's how the category is bought, though. That's why when people tell us, like if people come to Phil and I, they said they're going into frozen, I think, oh shit, man, why? Because if you look at it, it is perpetually. If you want to know what's on sale in frozen, just look for the holes. Mm-hmm. Because if it's not MCB'd or discounted, it's all there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If it's empty, it's because it's on sale. It's funny. It just that whole run, to your point, just runs on that. So great advice. Like if you are going into that set, you really need to get fat in the margins. Like you have to be ready to discount because it's those doors are shopped.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think, the reason I think producers need to build in a little bit more margin, especially new producers, because, you got to manage what the average list is on the shelf. However, you're small and you're efficient. You just do not have the efficiencies. You don't have the efficiencies in buying power in terms of ingredient cost, or the labor efficiencies in terms of automated equipment. And so automatically it's more expensive. So I think the other thing is that, grocers talk about having a 30 to 40% gross margin, and distributors talk about 25 to 35% gross margin, depending on who they are. And as a producer, you talk about the same 30%, but I guess because the dollar value at the upper side is a lot higher. So from my perspective, you're still paying one person the same kind of salary as you would at a grocery store or a producer. But that 30% is a lot lower dollar value. So you need to do a lot more. So I think there's some financial implications for that.
Right. Which again, most people just don't see because they don't understand. It's in theory, it's a very simple game. You make something, you put it in a store, someone buys it. But the complexity between that is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like really, it's such a complicated game, and it really shouldn't be, but it is. So you really do need to understand the rules of engagement.
Yeah. And I think from everybody in that supply chain is has a challenge that they're trying to overcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's still some things to figure out in the industry, I think. But right now I'm just trying to figure out how to sell omnoms.
Just focus on your world. Don't try to cure the world.
Don't super cluster this one yet. Just Just
do you. That's a full-time job, right, Gina?
It's a definitely full-time job. Yeah, being me especially, but omnoms in and of themselves. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Did you always know? Once you got into this, did you know that you were going to have did you kind of envision it coming out the way it has? Like you've got the 4 flavors. You've got 4, right? 4 flavors going. Because I think that's something that not everybody thinks about either. Is when you start getting in, and you start thinking about variations and flavors and things like that. Like we usually see it one of 2 ways, right? One is they go, there's only the original. Like why would you need something else? You kind of go,
shelf presence.
It's not enough, and then there's always someone who wants to do like 12 flavors, and you're like, I think you need to
much. Calm down. Like 3, 4, 5 is sort of is that sweet spot, right? I like 4 myself too. 3 is not enough, 5's too many. 4 is kind of in that nice little pop. And again, if they don't want to take one, you still get 3.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I'm itching to launch a few more flavors, and so that'll come. I think as the market, I think as the market is introduced to omnom, so I think that'll come in time. We started with 3 actually: teriyaki, Mediterranean herb, and Thai oil curry. The original came 4th. It's actually not the original, but called the original because it's lightly seasoned. It's the most flavor neutral one that we have, and that was really a production based on feedback we had in terms of wanting to sell into food service and having something a little bit lightly seasoned.
Right,
Chefs are incredibly talented. Yeah, you can add your own flavor. So that's how original got produced.
That's interesting.
So cool. We really try and hear what people are telling us to actually do is what we try and do.
So you've talked. I'm kind of curious down this path too. So you're talking about doing some other things. Are you talking just strictly flavors, or is there different formats? Is there I don't know enough about sort of
no trade secrets. So if you're not ready to talk about it yet, you can tell us to go away, and then you'll just need to
you can say nicely. You don't have to say go away. You can just say I don't want to answer that now.
Gina, we know what you mean.
I understand, but
I know what you mean. So you can be mean to Kenny. I know that even if you mean to me, I know what that means. So all good.
I think some new flavors, some new sizes to test out the market, some family sizes. I think would be really interesting. It's just trying to understand. Oh, excuse me, I lost my microphone here. It's really trying to understand what the best timing is to figure out what. And I think the market will tell us. I'm just wish I could kind of have a bit someone interview people that go into the stores on a regular basis, but I love that level of feedback. But we go to farmers markets and we hear that a lot from people. So.
Well, definitely see the trend, I think, right now, because we've talked about this in the past, the 3 of us, is that I do think, if it's going to be interesting in the next year to see what happens globally, economically, in our own country, economically. So anything value or extra value is probably not going to be the worst play.
Yeah.
Price will come into, I think, next year, probably more so than any other year in recent history. And that's fine. You can work around it. People are still going to eat. Like, thank God we're in the industries we're in. Like, food is food. You got to eat 5 times a day, whether you like it or not. So it's good, but you got to be, trying to figure out how to display it.
Yeah, I 3 times a day.
You don't eat 3 times. You eat more than 3 times a day. I'm with you a lot of days. I know how many times we snack. There's no 3 times. 3 times in the morning, maybe. You're talking 3 times. Come on.
It depends on how long your meal times are, right? That's how I don't know. It's hard to count sometimes.
We're always eating.
I think when I'm with Kenny, we don't really have meal times. We don't do anything else besides talk to each other. So it's
exactly.
like
we eat all the time.
It's like one long continuous meal.
It's a long meal. Okay, I eat one time a day. I start at about 7:30 and I go to about 7:30.
Like our poor wives, actually, because like, you know, we're on, at least over here, Kathy gets a break because Kathy gets up and she can escape before Kenny's voice shows up, right? Because he gets on at 7, 8 a.m. your time, right? But poor Amelia over there, like, before she's out of the house, I'm on the phone with him. So I'm there going, bye, have a nice day, right? Like, and then she comes home and I'm like, hi, welcome back, you know, and she's probably like, God, this voice, like, it never leaves, right? Like, what the, yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I still remember meeting you for the first time, Phil, and we were talking at that dinner, and I was like so blown away that I was actually seeing a person talk, because I'm just used to hearing a voice in your podcast, right? And I was like, wow, your animation behind that voice is facial features and
real person.
So
real person. Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah. I love what you're doing, because I think you really do. You kind of hit like all these highlights. Like it's you know, like, I think I've talked about this before, but like, particularly, like, I've talked about this with Gina, but in my household, it's made a big difference, right? Because we can actually have plant-based. I don't have to worry about the protein part of it because I know it's covered. And then the kid actually gets to do something she wants to do, right? And then my mother-in-law, who's 80 something and has vegetarian Fridays, you know, all those sort of things. You know, she's traded a day for a favor from God somewhere in her life that she won't eat meat, you know, like, and so it's been really handy, and the gap has been a lot easier to close, which I really love. Yeah, really love it.
Cool. Now, you've been in this now for a few years. And again, no, you know, it's a trade secret. This is actually more philosophical and probably a lot higher level, because now you've done this and you're in it. Like, where do you see this going? Like, where does this go? I mean, we know plant-based is here to stay because people have eaten plant-based since the beginning of time. So it's not like plant-based is new. We probably eat more meat now than we should, but plant-based is not new. It's been forever. But where does this go? Like, what do you see coming or not coming?
Well, you know, as an industry in general, or as so you know, I do believe it's going to get healthier. I do believe it's going to get tastier, and I have a feeling. Well, this is maybe my own personal, that I think trying to mimic meat in a way that is a like for like replacement. I don't think the general consumer really appreciates that. I think the novelty of it maybe is over. And I think what has to be there for people is the texture and the taste, the health and the convenience. And so I do think there's going to be more players that really focus on the health aspects and healthy ingredients in plant-based, recognizable ingredients. And I guess that some people, and I mean, I think there's incredible products out there, but there are some groups that, you know, and maybe valid, talk about, you know, it's made in a kitchen, not a lab. And I think that resonates with consumers. The consumers want real food. And I think the closer we get to natural foods, the way that they're made, the better. That's actually what always tastes better. You pick a cucumber from the ground versus, you know, that was something that was picked 3 months ago and then gets shipped. It always tastes better. So the more we can do to make food real food and lower processing is going to be better for most people. And I think most people are going to appreciate that. But I'm with you. I think plant-based is here to stay. And I think more and more people want options and want it to be relatively easy. I think our times of spending 3 hours in the kitchen making big batches of food, maybe on a Sunday, but not an everyday thing. Everyday weekday is going to be quick, easy. That doesn't go away. Our lives are, you know, too busy, and most people, I think, would prefer doing something else than spending a lot of time cooking. I think everybody loves good food. That's also not going to change. We should all enjoy it. We should have a good time with food.
I think that's it. I totally agree. And that's probably cultural too. I think all three of us come from culture where food is sort of it's kind of the basis of everything, right?
Yeah.
Everything happens around a meal.
Yeah.
All the best fights, all the best makeups, everything's around a meal.
Yeah, and it's pretty joyful, right? I don't know. For
awesome.
me, it was pretty joyful, and so when you're, and that's the kind of experience that I'm hoping to achieve through Om Noms, is that meal experience of joy.
Yeah, it's insightful though, right? Because like this idea that meals are going to be faster, because I think we're starting to feel that, we've really come out of the pandemic, and I think households are starting to speed up again, where we spent a year going, no, we like this space, and then all of a sudden you're kind of like, oh, now I'm, I was talking to Kenny yesterday. I talk to Kenny every day, but yesterday I had to drive a kid somewhere, so somebody called and needed something, so I was tethered to my phone in the car in the backseat, just working off a laptop, right? And I was talking to him, and then I was somewhere else, tethered to my phone, and you realize the pace has picked up again, but it also means like it makes me grouchy, because before the pace wasn't fast and I could eat properly, but now I'm not willing to, the conversation that my daughter and I had in the car was, I said, well, what do you want to eat? And she goes, I don't want any garbage, right? So I'd rather just not eat right now, right? And that's not something that I think pre-pandemic you necessarily would have said. You would have been like, let's just grab a, fast food, insert fast food here, let's just do that, and then we'll sort it out later. And now people know the difference, right? So I think that is actually particularly insightful, because you're going to have a lot of families that, I got to do this, I got to do it fast, how do I do this, right? So yeah.
And the thing is, I think what your point was, I don't like, I like cooking, so I don't mind. I don't mind not buying as much processed as I can. I like to do more myself. But if I'm going to buy it, I don't want to buy shit. I don't want 17,000 ingredients. If I can't, I don't want to do that. I can't read it. I'm not interested. Yeah. So as long as it's clean, and then I don't mind doing it. Otherwise, what am I doing this for?
Exactly. Yeah.
Not good for you.
Yeah.
You got a good thing going there, young lady. A good thing going.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
I'm so glad you finally came on. This is like,
it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. No, you guys are great. I knew you'd be great.
I mean, Phil's a little tough here and there, but you got the balance, right?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I drag my butt around. I know.
It is what it is.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Anytime. Seriously, anytime. If people want to find you, or they want to find Om Noms, where do they, like online, what do they do? Where do they go?
Yeah, you can find everything you can want to know about us at our website at yumasoy.com, yumasoy.com. And we have a great Instagram and Facebook page as well, and it's Om Noms Yum.
Cool.
And I think I'm pretty easy to find. Find me on LinkedIn too.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, that's
awesome.
That's where we find everybody these days.
Yeah.
Gina, thank you for doing this.
Thanks for coming on.
Really, really appreciate it.
Seriously.
We were looking
Thanks
forward
for having me.
Anytime.
Thanks for doing what you guys do.
And keep us posted at what you're doing. Keep us posted. It's something cool coming. You can do another 15-minute. Now you're used to this, so it's all easy peasy.
Old hat now. So,
old hat.
You're cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Will do. Thanks so much.
Okay. You go.
Have a great day.
You hang on. Have a great day.
Bye.
Ciao.
I like her.
You know what I like about her not more than anything. What I like about her is the fact that, again, such different. I mean, she's CFO, finance, tech shit. This, IPO, and then you go make, plant protein. That makes sense to me. It's linear.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
But you know what I do like about it, because I think it's as much as sometimes this industry is loaded with people who are. They had just different reasons. It's really nice sometimes that people have backgrounds that lend probably better to a business play. Because with someone like her, I don't feel that I have to worry that she's not going to be here next year or the year after, because she's got enough business sense to actually say, okay, how do I do this long-term viable? I'm not worried about, getting a 50 times multiple on a sale. That's not, how do you do this financially sound? I don't know. I like her. I like the way she thinks. I mean, it's product's cool. I mean, good on her.
She's hilarious, right? Like everything she was like, I just did it. And you're like, no, you didn't just like, I just woke up. That's that. You can do that one. Yeah. You don't just do. I know. Anyway. It's so funny. It's
she's good. Great.
But it's really good. It's really good. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That is it for us, folks.
Thanks for listening, everybody.